Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is part 2 of the improvement process, where we will be showcasing and backing up what we said in the first video. Mostly the fact that improvement goals or personal bests can be broken in as little as 2 weeks, but the person has to be open to change, and by not repeating what they already do. The examples here are to demonstrate some of the points I've highlighted in earlier videos in this aiming series, and this is the part where we're going to be applying what we've found. First though, I want to congratulate the participants for the solo Apex tournament I held not too long ago. Although quite a number did sign up to join, only a few ended up playing due to availability reasons. Overall though, I personally found it extremely fun, as it was very tense and everyone was nervous not wanting to be eliminated. So in terms of future direction for the event, I do want to continue looking at game things, and that's what I'm having to think about now for the channel. Here is the winning tournament clip, and congrats again to the participants, and to Noxy who ended up winning first place. Who? Oh, Noxy with a kill. Who did he kill though? Noxy!
Fucking hell!
Thievery! The structure for demonstrating this improvement will be highlighting areas for improvement that I've picked up on, which we also mentioned is the first step in the improvement process. I'll be using both aim training and game clips for this, and it's a process that everyone can follow quite easily. The second step is the harder one, as we know, applying the actual change. Some of the things I'm showing here can be easy things to overcome, and others not so much. Remember, the key thing here is change and improvement is done at the time of the event. So as long as you are aware of something to work towards, then you can start playing that too, and your improvement starts immediately. This can be something you spot during the playthrough itself, or have prepared before you go in and play, but with faster speeds and aim sometimes, it has to be analysed via a clip. So often a big part of the success in identifying what you can do is reviewing what actually happens and what's gone wrong. Okay, so for an aim training example, this task actually stemmed from a Valorant issue I noticed where I predictively aim a lot of the time. While this can certainly have its benefits in tactical FPS, I wanted to improve on that and work towards actually landing on the target. So I came to this task Fireworks Flick Small in Kovacs. I had played it before and still did occasionally, so I sat down and gave it a good go, breaking my personal bests constantly a good 8 times. Which brings us to this clip now being shown on screen. My issue exactly was with how I read targets and how I respond to that, and I noticed it here too in this task. I would flick ahead and wait for the target to pass into my crosshair. What improved me phenomenally in this was genuinely just clicking earlier and realizing I didn't need to move my mouse so much. Then, over time, I started to read the targets and respond with a much more accurate movement. This is already something I had highlighted to myself in the kinetic video in this series, the predictive aim or the smooth leading up to, both eventually ending up at the point where you just aim and land on target. But I needed to enforce this change and put that into action, which I did by using earlier clips. I am, however, bringing a lot of experience into this task already, so I am able to control my higher speed aiming outputs and focus purely on this issue that's holding me back. With me reaching this spot now, I feel extremely tested, and I think I've just now crossed the part where my translation is going to start to shine. I have to react quick and ensure my movement is clean and no messing about, and I think I'll be pushing for number 1 in this task, which I think I'll get very soon.
that thing, Miss Annabella shake that thing, yeah, Donna, Jody and Rebecca, woman get busy, just shake that booty non-stop when the beat drop, just keep swinging it, get jiggy, get drunk up, percolate anything you want, for call it oscillate, if I don't take pity, more to see you get live on the rhythm of my ride, and my lyrics up about it.
So that example highlights one area from the kinetic video, where it's a basic analysis on the aim training side that you guys can do too. You need efficiency of your aim to be able to speed up, and also you need to work on improving your initial precision by changing what you do as a response. And I realised when I seen a target or acquired one, I had built up a comfortable level of what I felt stable aiming at, and what worked for me successfully. I would flick ahead to these spots almost always, so by repeatedly doing something like this, and clicking earlier and teaching myself a new way, when I read a target now, it's like I've learned a new shorter distance, fast movement that I feel comfortable doing, raising my comfortable output to that new level. Similarly, the points I've highlighted in the other videos are things you can work on and change to obtain the results you need. Now moving on to game examples. Because it gets incredibly complex and it's something I might be potentially moving the channel towards anyway, I'll keep these examples basic. For Apex, even though I noted some lag tracking before for myself, that would come under aim. So Apex specifically, I can look at an older clip and I see immediately, pings are just letting me take too much damage. Now it might not seem that big of a thing, but taking damage is extremely bad in a survival game, because if you do take damage and manage to win a fight, it's much harder to continue after that, if required, and win further fights in a pressure situation. If you are able to not take damage and win a fight, you will be in a much better position to survive that next individual engagement that you have. Not taking damage is more important than dealing it. So what have I done to overcome this? Well, as I said earlier in this video, a very easy change. When I see an enemy, I just told myself that using the ping is risky and could cause me to take damage. I should prioritise a safer way and use an alternate method of communication, which I have by using my voice, and pinging for my team as soon as I am able to. This doesn't give the enemy team the advantage if I take damage and potentially go down or get rushed, giving them the upper hand. Something so simple like this can be analysed if you look into how you respond to your situations and what you choose to do.
Oh, melted. Unbelievable.
For Valorant, this one is more on the obscure side, not something a lot of people would pick up on really. It's utilisation of the aim and movement relationship and how that can be neglected for the consistency of static player shots. What I mean by this is, if you look into your engagements in Valorant, you should notice that if you are moving and detect an enemy, that requires your response. You will stop moving and aim towards them at the same time, firing when your character stops dead. Someone had actually highlighted to me that I had built a comfortability of aiming whilst my character was stood still, because I was more successful with it, but it's really not efficient. The times where you do aim while stop dead are more on the enemy is unsuspecting side, where you aren't required to evade or strafe as much, which is a survival maneuver. Now this character movement is an extra layer of complexity but offers a much higher skill ceiling, and players neglect this so much when training, even just in the range. They do use it in game, but just don't realise it because your character might be moving at the time you're required to flick, and it demands a fast response from you or you could die. Yet when in the training range, we will see people preemptively stopping just before targets spawn so that they are stopped dead. It's just shoving A and D movement in between shots, so you may as well just be stood still. You don't get the proper practice this way that's representative of the game environment. Since I started doing this, I understand how my character movement interacts with my static and kinetic aiming skill set and abilities, and I'm able to aim much more precisely. Anyway guys, that's all for this video. It could go on forever with improvement points, and the previous videos in this series are supposed to highlight most of the areas I've come across. And as I said anyway, I'm considering moving on to game topics now, which is most likely to be Valorant to be honest, and going back to breaking down full games, which was an earlier plan for the channel which I need to get started. The clips from this video were actually my first games of Valorant in God knows how many weeks, I'm completely new to the Pearl maps, and I'm on a brand new accel curve as well. New mousepad and new mouse, so things are really looking up for me lately performance-wise. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.